Hey, welcome back. Here in the garage with the Bone Crusher's bike. Yeah, we got it back on the stand. We're doing all kinds of nice things to this bike, but that'll be the subject of another video. Or maybe I'll talk about a little bit about it later. But this is Carb Tuning 101. And I've got a carb here. Can you see it? Can you dig it? Right there's the carb, bro. Actually, let's turn it this way. And I got a question from a viewer in California named, I think his name's Paul. Paul sent me this question. Hey man, I got this carburetor and I hooked it up and gas is coming out of the air filter side. He called it ports, but this is where the air filter hooks up and gas keeps pouring out of the air filter side and I can't get it to start. No amount of tuning will make it right, man. This carb is crap. That's what Paul told me. Now, a carburetor, you want to blame the carburetor at first because you know the carburetor's not working like you want it to work. Now, a carburetor is a very simple device. It's kind of like a container with holes. That's all it is, a container with holes. And it's a very simple device, but this simple device does amazing things. So its simplicity is part of its goodness, its overall goodness. But it's just a container with holes. It's hard to mess up a carburetor. It's kind of like this petcock. Can you see the petcock, man? The petcock, same sort of thing. It's kind of just like a container with holes. It's hard to mess up a petcock. Petcocks, it's a straw and inserted into this bowl, and then there's another opening where gas flows through, and then there's an on and off and a reserve, and that makes it a little more complicated. But in the end, a petcock is a very simple mechanical device, and I'm gonna propose that a carburetor is not much more complex than this petcock. So Paul installed this carburetor and he's having problems because gas is coming out there and he can't get it to keep running, and he's messing with the screws and stuff, and that isn't helping out at all, brother. It ain't helping out at all. This carb is junk. It's junk. It's not working right. Or is it? Or is there something else going on, brother? Well, here I've got my Honda Urban Express, and I'm gonna run around to the front. And it says, underneath the handlebars on the right-hand side, it says 1982 on it. And 1982 was the year of manufacture. Or it might have been manufactured in late 81, but they called it an 82. It was the 82 model year. But anyways, the point is, in 1982, that was how long ago, brother? That was 36 years ago. 36 years ago, brother. We are dealing with a piece of machinery that's almost 4 decades old. And this piece of machinery has a metal gas tank. Right there, a metal gas tank, brother. A metal gas tank. And that metal gas tank holds gasoline, brother, gasoline. And gasoline has what else in it? What does gasoline have in it? You may not know this, but gasoline has a little bit of water in it, brother. A little bit of water, brother. We got a metal tank, we got water, and we got oxygen, and we got 36 years. And in that 36-year time period, brother, I guarantee that at some point, that metal, that water, and that oxygen got together and with the help of Father Time produced something called iron oxide, which is rust. And every bike I've ever owned, I've owned 3 of these. I've also owned 3 Honda Expresses. I've owned 7 Yamaha QT50s. I've owned 3 Yamaha Townies. I've owned 2 Honda Arrows. I've owned a Peugeot moped, brother. What are we up to, 18 or so? Every single one has had at least a little bit of rust in the tank. Now you may look down in the tank and shine a flashlight and, woo, my tank is so clean, there ain't no rust in there at all. Well, you can only see about 10% of your gas tank. There's no way you can see the other 90%. Maybe you can see the bottom. You can't really see the sides or the top. And you can't see the rust, the dirt, the sediment that's settled right around where the fuel drains out into the petcock. And I'm going to enlighten you on something else, brother. You see this bowl-shaped thing on the end of the petcock with like a little nut or bolt on the bottom? That is called a sediment bowl. Now they designed the petcock with the sediment bowl because they had something in mind. They knew that this gas tank, this metal gas tank, would have dirt, would have rust, would have crud, would have sediment. And so what screws into the gas tank, the petcock, has a sediment bowl designed to catch that stuff. And then what they didn't do on a lot of these nopeds is they didn't include a fuel filter, because things can get past this sediment bowl. Have you cleaned the sediment bowl? Did you know it would come off? Did you know you could clean it out? Did you know you could install a fuel filter? Well, all of that is, and I've added the fuel filter as extra protection because I know that the petcock will not, cannot catch all the sediment, the rust, the crud, the dirt, the mud, whatever that goes past the sediment bowl. It doesn't get caught by the sediment bowl. And if you've never cleaned the sediment bowl, then you've got stuff going past because there's only so much it can hold. This is a tiny little bowl, a tiny little container. A tiny little container with holes is all it is. And if rust, crud, dirt, and whatever else gets past the sediment bowl and you don't have a fuel filter, guess where it's going, brother? It's going through this inlet, the fuel inlet, it's going into the carburetor. And if you've got things other than gas going into the carburetor, you're going to have problems, big problems. Your problems will be related to this. Now, there we are. There's normally a float and needle, and that needle sits into this seat. Well, gas comes in here, goes down to the seat. Look at that, they're connected. Remember, this is just a container with holes. I just need to follow where this hole goes through this container and comes out to that hole. So gas is going right here. And that needle sits in the seat. And if you have rust, crud, dirt, grime, whatever else coming through here, it's going to catch between the needle that sits here and the seat. And if that needle does not seat, if that needle does not go to the bottom of the seat when the float bowl is filled with gas, it's always going to be open. And if it's always open, gas is going to continue flowing and filling up the float bowl. And if gas continues to flow, even when it's full, it's going to come out this side of the carburetor. Every single time, brother. Every time it's going to come out of that side. And it comes out of that side because there is dirt, rust, crud, and other foreign materials other than gas that is caught between the needle and the seat, keeping the needle open, letting gas continue to flow. Because that needle is an on and off switch. Remember, this is a simple device. It's a container with holes, and I guess we've added another level of complexity here. It's a container and holes with an on-off switch, and that on-off switch is stuck on, brother. It is stuck on. So you may say, man, this carburetor is junk. It is crap. Man, I'm throwing this thing away. It was a waste of my time, and it was a waste of my money because gas is flowing out. No, that's not true at all, brother. It is not true at all, and I'm here to set you free, disabuse you of those notions. You have just failed to turn the on and off switch off. You have left the on switch on. You need to make it functional again by removing the dirt, grime, crud, foreign materials, and objects that are blocking the path of the on-off switch. And if you've tried to fiddle with the screws, the idle air screw and the throttle stop screw, while gas is pouring out of this side, it ain't going to do nothing. It is not going to affect the on-off switch. It is not going to make your bike start. It is not going to make your bike run. It is not going to do nothing, nothing, nothing. Because the level of the gas in the carburetor is too high, causing an overly rich condition, which your bike does not like. So no amount of fiddling of carb tuning is going to fix that problem. You have got to fix the on-off switch. You have got to remove the foreign material between the seat and the needle. The seat and the float needle, you need to restore full operation of the on-off switch. Because right now you are stuck on, brother. You are stuck on. You are creating a condition by not running a fuel filter, by not cleaning out your sediment bowl, by not replacing your fuel line, by not cleaning out your gas tank. You are creating a condition for this container with holes to mess up the pathway of the gas through those holes, through that container, into your engine. That is your problem. The carburetor is not junk. It is easy to blame this inanimate object, this poor inanimate object, which is trying to do a job. But you have prevented the conditions, the ideal conditions. You have eliminated those ideal conditions in which it can perform its job. And that is carb tuning 101 with the Honda Urban Express brother, Andy, telling you how it is. Amen.